Hi, I'm Camila Ramon.
And I'm Meli Ortiz.
And this is Hasta Abajo.
Today we have an incredibly important guest, and I'm just about to hype the shit out of this one. Because y'all, not only is she one of my best friends in the world, not only have we lived incredible moments together both on and off the pitch, but she also represented Colombia, she represented Sevilla, she represented Monterrey, she represents the world out of women's football. Pero todo el mundo, un gran aplauso, una bienvenida a Isabella Echeverri. ¡Vamos, Isa!
Thank you for being here.
Gracias por invitarme. Thank you, guys. I'm so excited to be here.
First, I don't even know what language to speak right now because now we're like really going to be engaging in full-on Spanglish.
Yeah, whatever feels good for your soul, that's what you go with. And now, Meli also, she did hype her up because she is her bestie. She didn't exactly say, this is my bestie, but they're just, girly pops in the game together. I need to know a couple of things before we get into things. You guys, first off, fought against the Colombian Federation. You fought for equal pay, for a lot of discrimination that was happening in el mundo del fútbol, which I have mad respect for, and we will dive into a little bit later. We'll get down into the nitty-gritty, the details. Meli was telling me that this is probably the first time that you guys have spoken about this together. Am I right?
Correct.
Yes.
Wow, okay, exclusive. Only on Hasta Abajo.
Only.
But I want to know if you guys remember the first time that you met and what your first impression was to start.
Meli, do you want to answer that? I don't remember.
Yeah, I nutmegged the shit out of her on the pitch.
Oh my God.
Te hizo un túnel. No. I just remember, okay, so long story short, I played on the national team, and I am, 4.5 years older than you,
Está más viejita.
Ay, gracias, amiga. Ay,
Abuelita.
Tengo más arrugas por ahora. She's catching up. Okay, and so I was already on the full national team, and Isa was on the youth national team level, so the U17s and U20s. And then once Isabella se maduró un poquito más.
Well, she hit puberty.
Yeah, she got her period. when she got a little older, she joined the full national team. And I think, Isa, you're probably 20 at the time, or how old were you?
Yeah, I should be 20, 21.
Yeah, and so at the time I was around 24, 25, and she came onto the team, and I didn't know about Isa beforehand. There wasn't a lot of coverage of the youth teams before that, so we didn't really know until those younger players really joined the full team. And so we already shared some friends in common when she came onto the team. And what I liked so much about Isa at the time was she also was getting her degree in the United States. She was studying at University of Toledo, Ohio. And Toledo, Ohio. University of Toledo.
Nobody has ever called it Toledo before.
Dude, first time.
You said,
ella quería meter el Spanglish por ahí de alguna manera. Good, Meli. Yes.
You said speak from the soul. That came out of the soul, dude. And so,
I felt it.
And so she also, spoke both languages, English and Spanish, and she already had that life experience of what it's like to live in the States and also play in Colombia. She was born in Colombia. And so I already, kind of found that liking to her, meaning because of those commonalities. And then once we started hanging out with each other, then we realized quickly how scary similar we are.
Let's make something clear here, porque Melicita back then didn't speak a lot of Spanish. Mm-hmm. Era full.
Well, when you arrived, I spoke more. When you weren't there yet, that's when I really didn't speak that much.
So yo le caí bien because I could speak English with her during the camp, and it made the transition and the friendship a little easier for us. But I think we click right away. It was very easy, and as Meli said, we are so similar in so many things that it got scary really quick.
I mean, I was hanging out with you guys the other day for the first time that I hang out with you, Isa, even though I feel like I've known you for as long as I've known Melissa because she always talks about you. And I was like, y'all even have the same hair. You do look like sisters. So, hermandad at first sight.
Someone asked us a few months ago if we were sisters. Okay.
Yeah, por lo
I
menos
think que no
primas.
nos conocía.
Yeah.
They're like, are you guys sisters? It's kind of like Cami when you and I went to an event once and they asked if we were dating, if we were partners.
Yeah.
No joke.
Es mi novia. Okay, well, I have this game that I want to play, and it's called Expose Your Bestie. So we'll start light. The first question is, what is the best thing about Isa, Meli, and what's the best thing about Meli, Isa? Who wants to start? We'll start cute.
Let's start cute. Para mí que se está riendo todo el tiempo. She's always laughing. She's always having a great time. And she always wants to go out dancing with me. So, Meli, that's the best part.
Okay,
Spot
love
on.
that.
Spot on. Best part about Isa is that when she really, really wants to do something, like she's gonna fucking do it. You know, like whether it's we're going out or it's like we're not, like she's dedicated. Like right now, when we'll get into it, Isa has been eating very, very healthy. She hasn't been drinking for months now. But it's not just that, it's the, like different things. It's like if she wants to make a team, if she wants to work on camera, if she wants to do X, Y, and Z with her career, whatever, like she puts her mind to it and she does it. And that's one of the
She makes
things
shit happen. We love
Dude, that
a
was
queen
so
that makes shit
deep
happen.
and I was so como superficial.
Yeah,
Bueno,
thanks, dude.
Don't worry, you'll have time to get her back. Okay, what's the most annoying thing about Melissa, Isa?
Que siempre me está escribiendo para beber.
Meli?
Well, te digo algo, Cami. Especially now, like before,
Now
it's
she
like
starts speaking Spanish, so she's mad, Cami.
yeah.
Okay, we
Well,
know.
it's more because, you know, before it was the two of us, like, hey, you know, it's viernes, it's Friday, you want to have a wine, you want to go
Right.
out, you know. Guys, for our listeners, I just want y'all to understand this. Isa and I have never lived in the same city in our lives, okay? And we've known each other for, I don't know, 15 years now. Yeah. And since December, I moved to Miami, and Isa also now lives in Miami. And so we live 10-minute walking distance from each other. So
Dangerous.
Dangerous. So these past 6 months, like especially the first month, have been a little wild, which was great. It was much needed. It was much needed. Yeah. And so that's why she says, like, I you know, try to get her to drink, but because she hasn't been drinking, so I'm always like, you know, you want a little drink, you want to, like, you know, wine.
Like a Tuesday, 5 p.m. She's like, Isabelita, jacuzzi and wine. And I'm like,
Cold plunge?
cold plunge, Meli, and a
Okay,
rum.
so Meli's a bad influence. Okay, noted. Okay, now something that nobody... Meli's shaking, for people who are listening, Meli's shaking her finger no, and Isa has a very guilty face on, so we know that deep down inside, Isa has done some shit in the past that maybe is not quite appropriate for us to discuss on this podcast, and that's okay, you know, we can draw the line here. But, however, I still need to know something that nobody knows about Meli, nobody knows about Isa, that they need to know.
Oh, shit.
Cuidado.
Cuidado. Pensemos bien.
Let's come back to this one. I gotta think about it, dude.
Okay, think about it.
Yes.
In the meantime, Isa, Meli wanted me to ask you how your December was.
So fun, dude. El mejor diciembre de mi vida.
Porque fue cuando se mudó Melissa a Miami, ¿no?
Ella se mudó a final de noviembre. So we've been besties for many years. And all of a sudden, she's like, dude, I'm moving to Miami. At the same time that I've been living in Miami for 6 months. So I was like, okay, come on. I helped her pick her apartment, which you've been there. You know how amazing it is.
Yeah, you did a great job. I walked in there, I started crying because of the view. I was like, I wish I could live here. There's might as well have been fucking dolphins jumping out the ocean, and like there was like a manatee festival happening downstairs that you could see from her apartment. I was like, fuck, man, New York is cold.
A manatee festival, I'm dead.
And then what you guys have to understand is that we have pretty similar schedules. So we're not two people that work from 9 to 5 every day, right? We mostly
That's why a Tuesday 5 p.m. wine is appropriate.
Yes, okay. That's why, you know. So
Balance.
It's like we work on the weekends, we travel a lot, and we have a lot of free time during the week. So it all started by, hey, what are you doing? Let's go for a walk. And then it was Tuesday, 10 a.m., and Meli and I were walking in the middle of Brickell. And then that turned into La Fiesta de la Cuadra, that is like a really nice Colombian party. And then that went to going to the party here, going to a boat there, going for a run. Cuidado, no todo es fiesta, right? Mm-hmm. But December was like that moment where we finally, like, como que nos reencontramos. After 15 years of being best friends, it was like actually being best friends, living in the same city. Like, it was like Sex and the City all of a sudden in our lives.
Sin el sex.
Bueno, con el sex, pero en lugares diferentes.
Con personas diferentes. Estoy sudando.
I need to turn this AC on.
Wait, so Isa, like, also for our listeners to understand this, like, Isa and I known each other for 15 years and, you know, best friends for 15 years. But when you're an athlete, when you're a player, like, that's all you do, you know?
Oh,
and
the bonding is crazy.
Yeah, the bonding is crazy. I mean, everything that you live on and off the pitch, moments, wins, losses, drama, like everything, right? And so we also lived like a lifestyle there where like all we did was eat, sleep, everything, soccer, you know, football. You know, we didn't have many moments to go out, to party, to drink. I didn't drink much when I was playing, you know, only when we would, you know, after a tournament, we would go out and celebrate or something like that. So that's why I think after accumulation of 15 years and after everything that we've been through, and now as like women in our 30s, you know, women with paychecks, you know, to spend.
Because now you're getting paid compared to before, because they were paying you a nice salary of $0.
Literally, ni mierda. And so now that's why, like, I think December when we were here and like Lacey Santos came down for vacation, she plays for the Washington Spirit. She played with us on Colombia, still plays for Colombia. That's, I think, why like December for us was like just so epic. It was just like, I didn't even know it was coming, to be honest. I hadn't, like, you couldn't even have planned this. And if you would have planned it, it would have sucked. But, like, to all y'all, like, we went out. We went ham in Miami, but in a nice way, in a good way. Mucho reggaeton, merengue, salsa, bachata, aguardiente.
Sala de despecho, ¿no?
Todavía no.
El patio. Shout out El Patio, Miami.
Yes,
y muchos otros lugares también. And ahora sí, Sala de Despecho, nos encanta.
El Patio is crazy because I used to go to El Patio when I was in high school. It really did make a comeback. Okay, but people are gonna think that you guys like are just going out at night all the time and that you're like these crazy.
Somos seriecitas. Okay?
Pero hablemos de lo real. Like these are two Olympians that we're talking to right now, ex-pro footballers. And Isa, I personally want to know like, about your morning routine as like somebody who's so driven, so active. Like Meli has been telling me you've been training like crazy. Like what does a typical morning for you look like? From the moment that you open your little eyeballs.
Cami, I wake up at 5:25 a.m. every morning.
Oh God.
I have 10 or 15 minutes to leave my apartment, so I usually eat a small amount of food before going to the gym.
What do you eat?
I eat Greek yogurt with almonds, and then I go out and I train with our friend Nacho. Shout out to Nacho, who's training me since January. So we usually do weight training. And
how many times a week do you do weight training?
5 days a week weight training, and Saturdays is my cardio type of day. So on Saturdays I do 1 minute on the treadmill, 1 minute of exercise with light weights. And I do that for 43 minutes, 45 minutes. The other days are 2 leg days, 3 upper body days. So it's an hour and a half at least in the gym doing weightlifting. I do 20-minute cardio after, and then I do 30 minutes in the sauna every single morning. So that's the space where I like meditate. I take my phone off. Like everybody's with their phones, but I'm not. I'm closing my eyes. I'm thinking about what is it that I need to do that day? What is it that I need to do the next day? And kind of manifesting my goals and dreams within those 30 minutes every day. And then I come home and I have breakfast.
Okay, I want to backtrack a little bit. Your weight training situation, somebody who, plays football for a living, it's very cardio focused, right? Did you make a transition from more cardio when you were playing to now more weight training focus? And if so, why is it that you're prioritizing weight training?
Dude, I was so lost when I retired. So lost. And one of the biggest challenges was mi relación con working out. That was the biggest thing that I had to figure out for myself. It was, at the beginning, I was obsessed. When I was playing, I was obsessed with working out. Then it got into a period that I would call my mom and ask my mom, ¿por qué la gente va al fucking gimnasio? I don't understand. What is the motivation here? And she's like, to be healthy. And I'm like, no, I eat well to be healthy. I don't go to the gym to be healthy, because going to the gym was my work. It was part of my daily tasks of being an employee for a football club. Mm-hmm. So I retired and I was lost for 4 months. I went to the gym. I didn't go to the gym. I ran. I didn't. And after I was like, okay, I need to do something that makes me very uncomfortable. What was that? Running.
That is such an athlete's mentality.
I know.
I want to be as uncomfortable as possible because now I'm retired.
I'm bored. I'm bored.
What is it that I'm gonna do? So I called a friend and I asked her who her running coach was. And I called this guy and I was like, look, I don't want to run a marathon. I don't want to run a half marathon. I just want to learn how to run long distance and enjoy it. I want to enjoy running. So I started running and I did running for 6-7 months, every day, really conscious of the running part. And then, to be honest, I got bored, so bored. I was like, I'm running through the same paths every day, this is not for me. But I learned how to run and I learned how to enjoy running, so check on the goal. Then December came along, the parties came along, January came along, and I was so lost and I was on a meeting with some friends. I met Nacho, who is my cousin's boyfriend, and he's ripped.
Shout out. Y'all got to look at him on IG. I just pulled it up. So it's Nacho, Nacho, lower underscore Giraldo underscore.
Good. He's ripped. So I was I was telling him how lost I was, and he said, "Come train with me. I'll train you. I'll train you for free. Come with me." And I was like, oh, well, okay, why not? So I started going every morning with him, doing weightlifting, and I started getting stronger, feeling stronger, and I fall in love with the gym all over again. I do think it comes a lot with the company. So I have someone there every morning who's waiting. Me río con él, we talk shit, we work out. It's a fun kind of social interaction plus working out. So that's, I don't know if I answer your question, but yes.
I think that you did something that I talk to people about very often, which is finding something that works for you and finding something that you enjoy. You tried running, you liked it for a little, and then you were like, I don't like it anymore. I want to do weight training. And actually, I love the fact that you are incorporating so much weight training into your routine. Is it necessary for everybody to be training 5 times a week at 6 a.m. every day? No, but the fact that you're prioritizing weight training is going to keep you strong, especially as we age. You start to lose bone density, muscle mass, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just really dope to see you as somebody who, is a retired pro athlete, prioritizing the right things because they just naturally feel good to you, and not even necessarily because it's I need to do it because it's good for me. It's just because it's something that you love and that you enjoy. PSA to everybody listening to start weight training. Thank you so much.
But really, I've seen Isa's results over the past few months because I think you've done this religiously since February, right, Isa?
Yeah.
Between weight training, between eating clean, very clean, not drinking a sip of alcohol, and guys, believe me, as her bestie, it's been frustrating. No, but to see her results live, Isa was my teammate for a long time, and we would do double sessions, we would do weight training, we would do everything. And for Isa to like get like strong, you know, muscle mass, it was hard for her. And now I'm actually seeing, like the other day I grabbed her arm, I was like, dude, te está saliendo músculos. And I grabbed her arm, I'm like, dude, te está saliendo, like honestly.
Yeah.
So it's showing like that routine, that dedication, the commitment to actually like committing to the plan and sticking with it. It's showing results. So any listeners who are feeling inspired from this, you know, definitely go for something that you enjoy, like Isa did. You know, it's all about trial and error, what you like, but also once you grasp onto something, like commit to it, stick with it. Don't give up. I know things get boring after a week or two. Keep going. She's been doing this consistently for almost 4 months now.
Yeah, and I think the path is different for everybody. Like, as you said, Cami, not everybody has to wake up at 5 in the morning to work out. For me, I'm a morning person. I need to do stuff in the morning because at 5 p.m., my brain and my
useless.
body... Yes, it doesn't work, you know? But some people work better at 5, 6, 7 p.m. So it's more of a journey of understanding what is it that you enjoy and move a bit more and eat more clean. And stay consistent because that's the key.
Love that so much. And I loved, you know, showing people a little bit more of your friendship. We're going to toss a break right now. When we come back, we're going to talk about your battle against the Colombian Soccer Federation and everything that you had to endure, also sacrifice, give up, and push through to change the narrative for women in sport and many girls that are going to be, you know, fighting continuous battles for many years to come. Okay, we'll be right back.
All right, y'all, and we're back with Hasta Abajo podcast alongside my co-host Camila Ramon and Isabella Echeverri, former Colombian national team player. And Isa and I have a really unique and special story moment, life moment that I really want to talk about because actually we've never talked about it in public, the two of us together. You know, we've been on so many podcasts, so many interviews, even programs on TV and talked about what we did in 2019, but never together. And now it's even more special because it's obviously on Camila and I's podcast. But long story short, in 2019, Isa and I, we fought against the Colombian Federation. And as we think back now, 6 years it's been since that moment, a little bit over 6 years. Let's talk about that to our audience. Let's depict that moment where, I guess, leading up to that moment, like why we fought against them. And then I'll expand more into what happened. So talk to us about like that journey as to like all the things that really got us to be like, you know what, we're about to just go ham on the Federation.
Dude, so many different stuff happened when we were inside the Colombian national team. Like, and I don't want to start complaining about our conditions in the national team because I think we've talked about that a lot. But
for reference, they were getting paid nothing, and then they got their salary raised to about $10 a day, and then up to $20 a day without notice. They removed their salary completely. They had to pay for their own flights. They had to wear used jerseys, pay for their own jerseys, wear used socks that were handed down from other teams, maybe the male team, maybe the female team. We didn't really know where they were coming from. And there was the gym didn't have equipment, and when the male team would come in, when it was their season, they would rent equipment, fill the gym with every single possible kind of equipment that you could possibly imagine. When they had maybe like a couple medicine balls and like a random box made of wood with probably clavos sticking out the side that you guys had to jump on and figure out to train. And
with that, we went to the 2015 World Cup. Mm-hmm. 2 medicine balls and a box made out of wood with sticky things outside. Yeah. You know, muy mal. Yeah. We were doing sit-ups. Like I was carrying Meli to do a sit-up because we didn't have any weights.
Yeah. And squats. We would put each other on our back like this and do squats because there was no racks to do squats with. Anyways, Cami, you nailed it. You like really did your homework, girl.
Cami saw the video, Meli.
Yeah.
I read up a little bit, and I listened to a couple of the podcasts that you guys were on for sure. And I think this is very important. It's very important for people also to know like the types of things that you guys were dealing with. I know that you guys maybe don't want to repeat it 1,000,000 times because you've said it so many times, but it's important for people because people are listening to this for the first time, believe it or not. Not everybody knows about your story. So having insight and like an understanding of what the setting was is so important, especially when you know that these federations are starting these teams. And yes, for example, they might make the argument that in certain countries, like the female teams are not watched as much as the male teams, but they're starting these teams first off very consciously and with money and with backing. So you do have to be able to pay the athletes that you are hiring to do a job for you under your team, period. And then number two, the conversation that I've had with you, Meli, about positioning and the reasons why like females are women in sport were in the past not watched as much because there was no backing behind it, there was no marketing behind it. We like I played football with you guys.
We're all part of it. We
are part of it.
Right. You guys know where I'm going with this, and you guys can explain it better than anybody else, but it's just so important what you've done.
Yeah. And you're right, Cami, like you're absolutely right about that. And, Isa and I lived it firsthand, and so has millions of women around the world. And more specifically, like how federations have treated their women's teams over the course of decades. It came to a point where, we're living in the 2000s, right? And it was already 2019. And Isa and I finally were like, what are we doing? Like, what are they doing? And so I had gone from, playing in the Olympics to getting injured 5 days before the Women's World Cup, having practically the federation turn their back on me and me having to pay some medical bills for it, living this whole crazy year where I came back with vengeance. And I started documenting things. I started taking pictures. I started taking pictures of the empty gym. I started taking pictures of receipts of me buying my own tape for my ankles, esparadrapos, like you name it. I already knew in the back of my mind that at some point down the line, I wanted to seek revenge. And then at the same time, Isa went on to play in a tournament. And when I had already kind of like stepped away from playing from the team, and Isa came back from that tournament, the Los Juegos Centroamericanos, right, in Colombia.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was the Juegos Centroamericanos or the Copa America in 2018, but when I got back, we met.
Yeah.
We were together in your house.
Yeah.
In West Palm Beach.
Yep.
And the funny thing, Cami, and to every person that is listening to us, is that we realized in that moment that this shit has been going on for the last 10 years, and we were only realizing everything that was bad with the national team. Like before, it was like, that's what you get for playing football, and that's it, that's what you get. Be grateful, be grateful, be grateful. Everybody in the federation, coaching staff would always tell us, you have to be grateful just to be here, right? So the t-shirts, the flights, buying your own stuff, it was, you took that for, I don't want to say for granted, but como que se volvió normal. You normalized the bad shit that was going on. And in that moment when we met, I was like, Meli, I was in this tournament and they gave us jerseys that went on to my knees. Like I have a picture. Parecía un fucking vestido, marica. Mm-hmm. O sea, un vestido para jugar fútbol. Y le dije, dude, things haven't changed in the last 10 years. Like, I actually think things are getting even worse than they were 10 years before when we started playing together. Mm-hmm. And that's when Meli, with everything that she just explained with her injury, and me with my latest experience, said, dude, we need to do something about it. And we started thinking, like, what is it that we can do? And if it's not us, nobody will ever gonna do it. Because we were two players that were very different from the other players, in a sense that she grew up in the States, but I grew up in a high-income family in Colombia. We both went to the US. We both experienced the college system that they treat you very well. We both went to the same shitty circumstances in the national team, and it was like, if it's not us, it would never be anybody else inside the Colombian national team. What is it that we're gonna do? And we said, let's do a video, and that it started from that.
Yeah. So I want to, right before you made the decision to make the video, I read that you looked at Meli and you said, Meli, we're never going to step foot on a soccer field again. How did you feel at that moment before you made the decision to press post, or before that you guys made that decision? You already knew that it would change your lives forever. How did you feel making that decision, and what motivated you to press post?
Honestly, in that specific moment, I've never felt so empowered like I did in that moment, right? Isa, it was kind of push and never look back. It was just it wasn't even you kind of thought about it, and when we did look at each other and say, as soon as we post this, we probably will never play for the national team again, Ciao mundiales, ciao olimpiadas, ciao, I don't know, sudar la camiseta. But we, just like Isa said, if not us, then who? And we didn't see anybody else doing what we did. Anybody was going to do what we did, and we said we're risking it all because we know that this is going to have a greater impact and a long-term impact for generations to come. And this is going to be more important than wearing a jersey on our back like that ever again. It's going to be more important than stepping out on the pitch and representing a country. Yeah, that's the best feeling in the world. But not representing men and old men who have been controlling women for decades and controlling our destinies and controlling, our outlooks, our careers, and girls' futures. So really, when we said, and we looked at each other and said that, it was kind of we felt so empowered, because it almost felt at least for me, Isa, the future was in our hands,
Yeah, total. Yo me sentí empoderada. And I think it came from a thought, and I don't remember who said what, but it was we already played every single tournament possible, right? We played the World Cup, we played the Olympics, we played Copa America, everything we did. So if they are never going to call us back, we have that already, right? But if we do this, then we're going to ensure better conditions for the new generation, and we're going to inspire change in a country that really needs people in general to stand up and tell the truth. Because what we did in that video, because people tell me oh my God, you're so valiente, it's dude, I was just saying the truth. That's it. We were being honest with the world, and we recorded that video, which funny enough, it got lost, the first one, you remember?
Yes. Oh my God.
We recorded the first video and it got lost. Meli's camera.
What do you mean it got lost?
Yes.
Okay. So not many people know this, that in December of 2018, Isa and I recorded a video. That's the first time
West Palm Beach.
In West Palm Beach. And that was the first time we were okay, let's do this. We're going to record a video. We're going to sit down and talk about all of the stuff in the ways that the Federation is treating us. We recorded it. I had it on my camera. And at the time I just had started doing content as well for myself, I was kind of new at the game. And so whatever, I had the video, and I remember a month later or something like that, when I went to get the memory chip and start editing it, the memory chip was broken. Okay.
Yes.
It broke. It was sometimes that happens to you. If you have a camera, people have cameras, sometimes the file is unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And I'm writing Isa, I'm oh my God, our video. And Isa by that time is long gone. She's traveling somewhere else. I don't know where she was. And I'm what do I do? I asked a cousin of mine, una prima mia, who works in tech. She tried to recover the files. She was dude, it's not even you can't. Like, there's nothing you could do. I was like, no. And me and Isa were like, no. But it's crazy how things work out for a reason.
How life works.
Always. Yes. Because if we would have posted it back, like, even months before, I don't think it would have made, like, that much of influence like it did when we did. So finally.
Timing is everything, yeah.
Yes. 100%. So finally, Isa, I had moved to New York by that time. Isa came for a job that she got for her beautiful smile. She got like some like modeling smile job.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And so she's like, hey, I'm going to be in
influencer days. Yeah.
And so she came up to New York and I was like, dude, while you're here, let's try to do that video again. And she was like, yeah, 100%, let's do it. So then I'm like, okay, we're not gonna fuck up this file. Yes. And so we recorded it like in pieces and everything. And as soon as we finished that, I remember like exporting it, like we had it all under control. But the timing was perfect because it was more closer, obviously, to the day that we actually posted it. And without even really like planning what day we were posting it, it actually landed the day that we hit post of this viral video. It was because it was right around the time of International Women's Day, which is March.
Dude, no planning, no strategy behind this video at all.
Yeah, you were just like, I'm just going to post it and see what happens.
So crazy. I remember one morning, Meli sent me the video and she's like, do you like it? And I'm like, yes. And we're like, okay, what should the caption be? Okay, what should the hashtag be? Menos miedo, más fútbol? Yes, we like menos miedo, más fútbol. Okay, when do you want to post? At 9? Okay, at 9. You know, it was like that.
And the video went viral, and I think this isn't the first time. I think Daniela Montoya got cut from the team, right, after speaking out in 2016 when she came back from guys came back from the Olympics, and they were supposed to give you a bonus, right, for making it to a certain stage. And I think that didn't make as much news as what you guys did, because like what you guys spoke out about because of timing, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it all worked out. So tell me, so the video goes viral, it explodes, people start hitting you up, people start commenting things, sharing it everywhere, and you start getting calls from media. How do you feel then?
So many calls.
When I tell you, like, Isa and I were just back and forth, like, okay, you taking this interview, I'm taking that one. I'm taking this one, you're taking that. We both got to be on this one.
I had a day job at a co-working space that I had to call my boss and said, you know what, I need to go home because I just released this video and I need to take up on all these interviews. And Meli, you take the English ones, I take the Spanish ones, and let's see how it is.
Yeah.
It was just like that.
And it was around spring, like spring breakish, and I had gone on a ski trip to like Vermont. We're at a ski house, and of course, because nothing's planned, all of a sudden, I don't even go skiing. I stay in this lodge, like in this ski place, just on the computer taking interviews all day while my friends are all skiing, while my husband's out skiing. Like, I'm just like, I can't do that right now. Like, there's so much more things going on this side of the world. And so it all came down to the reaction, the response we got. When things started going really viral and we were the first, like, news, primetime news comes on, you know, like they open it up, Caracol, RCN, all these channels.
Even in the US.
Like, we were the first things that was the main subject matter. It was insane. And so the reaction of the federation, who more specifically, his name is Alvaro Gonzalez, and he's the vice president of the federation, was he neglected everything that we were saying. He denied everything that we were saying. He called us gossipers. He called us like liars.
And you were like, well, actually, I saved the receipts.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, let me get out my papers. And so,
so you sat him down, and then
we sat him down.
And then I was reading that you guys got some feedback from people in Colombia that were like, oh, these women that are living in the United States, like they aren't even really here in Colombia. So you guys flew to Colombia, met with some attorneys, and set up like a press conference. And then gives me chills just to think about it, you had like other players standing behind you guys while you guys had a press conference. Can you tell me about that a little bit more?
Dude, I was in the process of getting my green card. I couldn't leave the country.
I forgot about that.
You know, and I had to call my lawyer and said, I don't know what you're gonna do, but I'm going to Colombia tomorrow and I don't want to lose my green card. Mm-hmm. So fix it. Mm-hmm. We jump in a plane the next day or 2 days after, and we sat down with the Colombian Player Union, and they called more players, right? So more players came along. Natalia Gaitan, who was the captain of the national team, called us and said, I want to be part of it. I want to sit down in that press conference with you, which was huge for us. But then the day before the press conference, we did some prepping. Remember, Meli? It was like long hours prepping. Who's going to say what? What are the receipts? We had audios from these Alvaro Gonzalez guys saying a lot of shitty stuff.
Really bad.
We got so much proof, and we did some prepping before the press conference. But at the press conference, like, I think I always say this, and I mean it. That moment was the best moment in my entire career. It was a room full of media people. Like, I don't know how many cameras, Meli, how many people were there? 50, 60,
At
80?
least. Cami, you imagine, you have to envision like a Billie Jean King moment where, like, you know, you have the athlete right there and the media people, and we had like our lawyers, we had us, we had the athletes behind us, but then you look into a hotel conference room and it's just lined up with cameras, the whole back wall. It's insane.
That's insane.
It was insane. And to think, like, you know, we're in our 20s doing this, you know, like, sin miedo, like, we were nervous, that's for sure. We were nervous, but we were nervous, we weren't scared, you know? And that's just like thinking back of, like, I don't know, when you are so passionate about something, when you really want to, like, change something, like, you do it sin pensar, a veces, sin tener miedo, you know? And oh my gosh, when we did that live press conference, like, what's crazy is we had the audio recording of the vice president, and I edited it, I put subtitles on it, like captions, like all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And we aired it on live television. We leaked an audio of him saying things he should never have said, ever.
And people picked it up.
People picked it up, and you know what's crazy? So all of these radio stations, television stations, everyone that was airing the live press conference in Colombia aired that audio, except there was one channel who pulled the transmission because they are the rights holders of the Colombian national team, of the federation. Somebody, like, obviously the federation probably called them and said, hey, you need to stop this.
Cut all transmission in Colombia right now. Everything must be cut. That's crazy.
So we did the press conference, and, you know, we left there just like, wow, like, what do we do? And this is also without sleeping for a few days because we were prepping, we were traveling to Colombia. And I remember leaving, and there were, you know, that's us. And there were our teammates, like, right behind us, which was awesome. Like, you know, they also put their face out there and risked their careers in doing so, and supported this, which I appreciate so much, because, you know, there were teammates of ours that we had asked for testimonies, we had asked for support, we had asked because we knew that they had a lot of proof of paid flights, we knew that they had a lot of proof of, like, things that they had gone through, same as us. And there are some players that were too scared to do it, you know. They just didn't feel comfortable in putting their face out there because they knew that it would risk their careers.
Some players went to the prepping session and left before the press conference because they didn't want to put their careers on the line. They saw how deep this was going to go, and they said, thank you, but no, I'm going to go. And they left.
You guys made the decision to speak out also when you knew actively, like, you were, like, ready to not step foot on the pitch any longer, and I have a lot of respect for everything that you guys did, and you don't need me to tell you this, but I'm very proud of you. Looking back, what changes have you seen and hope to see in the future?
A lot. I think it was a before and after in Colombian football, and I don't want to say it was
thanks to you
all because of us, but
I'll say it.
Thank you, Cami. Thank you, Cami. But it was a before and after. After the press conference, the national team started to have friendly games. The league was on again because it stopped for months. Now all of a sudden, Adidas was sending us gear. Like, we were opening up new jerseys. And having the right size of socks, new socks for us. All of a sudden, international players living abroad were not paying for their own flights. you know, the change was pretty soon because they had such a bad press on their shoulders that they needed to fix.
Yeah, they had no choice.
They had no choice but to change different things. So I think everything changed, and they also increased our prize money there, like our daily compensation. It came from 0 to, I think, like, what was that, Meli? $80 a day when we were outside of Colombia. I know for a fact that today they earn the same.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's for sure.
You know, but it was a before and after, and I think players really understood the power, and we understood the power of our voices, the power of our platform, and the power of being truth to ourselves and being able to speak up about what matters in football.
Do you have any advice for potentially like women that want to speak out that haven't found the courage to do so in similar situations of injustice like this?
Go.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, you know, you use these types of stories as inspiration, right? As motivation. You know, we would look at the US women's national team as inspiration because we saw how much they fought for. At the time, they didn't reach equality yet or equal pay yet, but they had so much support, and it's all because of the pioneers before them, you know, the 1999ers. And we looked at them like, wow, like, why can't we be like them? Why can't South American teams be like them or European teams? Like, we need to do something. And that's really what, like, instilled this, like, motivation as well. Like, if they did it, why can't we do it, you know? And like the lasting impact it can make, not only just for yourself, but for like the people ahead of you, you know, the girls or the kids that will come next. You know, our national team would go 2 years without a training camp right before a World Cup or an Olympics. And it wasn't until 6 months before that all of a sudden the federation was like, oh my gosh, so the women's team has to train, you know? And so now those long days are gone. Now there's every FIFA window, you know, every month and a half or so, they are getting camps, they are getting trainings, you know, at least there's like continuity and support in that sense. But, you know, for women who are going through something similar, I understand there's a lot of risk involved depending on everybody's lives. You know, you're risking careers, you're risking your being like in your comfort zone too, you know, having a steady paycheck, having a steady, you know, anything, life circumstance. But it's so worth it in the end to make a change with lasting impact, not only for the people that are coming, but for yourself. You feel so powerful in doing something like that. And I think that's something that Isa and I have really felt, to the point that we got matching tattoos together because of it.
The quality tattoos.
I would say, and this is something that I realized very recently, for people and for women who are in similar situations, you need to find an ally. You know, if Meli was not in the picture, I don't think I would ever have done what we did, right? And I think that's the most important thing when you want to speak up, because it's really hard to do it by yourself. And someone asked me that question, like, would you have done it without Meli? And I was like, holy, I don't think so. Like,
yeah,
I am a powerful woman. I'm all about truth and honesty and let's go. But without my friend there, without a powerful woman like Melissa standing right beside me saying, let's do it. You know, we have everything in our hands to do it. I don't think I would ever done it. So find an ally, and that would make the path a lot easier and a lot more rewarding at the end.
Wow. Well, this honestly has been extremely eye-opening, also inspiring. So thank you guys for getting together to share your story. We're going to take a break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we got our Hágame Famosa segment, when we have two of the most qualified girly pops to hook you up with the latest and greatest in women in sport.
Isa, you're now currently a broadcaster for Telemundo, which I have to say, side note, guys, congratulations, because Isa not only is a broadcaster for Telemundo, but she also, within like her debut, let's just say debut year of her broadcasting career, also won a sports Emmy, y'all. Like,
girl!
There it is. Show that bling. Show that bling. Show it.
Wow,
Show
mira
it.
qué lindo.
Insane. So amazing. I remember when Isa was like trying to transition from what's next after playing career, and I was like, dude, get into broadcasting. I love it. Blah 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 blah. And next thing you know, she's holding up an Emmy. I'm like, girlfriend.
It was all because
Congrats.
of you, amiga. You open all of the doors.
Yeah.
Meli hates when I say this, Cami. She gets so uncomfortable. Look at her. But she opened all the doors for me, and I'm super, super grateful for that.
In which way?
Dude, she was the first. I don't know if the first, but the first Latina talking about women's football in the U.S. She started hustling since the first day, doing the soccer blogger and social media. You know, she hustled her way through the top and opened so many doors for people, for women like me, to get into the media space, which was really hard to get into. So, Meli, thank you, dude, for real.
I always sing her praises if that's the saying, but I like when other people do it too. So in case you didn't catch that, like Meli started like doing a soccer blog.
I did.
Remember when blogs were a thing?
The funny story is that I remember the day she asked me, should I do the soccer blogger or should we be the soccer bloggers?
Yeah.
So maybe in another life we would have started that together, but she started.
Yeah. Because when I was transitioning and seeing like, okay, what's next? I did start the soccer blogger. And then Isa at the time was also like deciding if she was going to continue playing or not, which she continued playing, thankfully. I was like, girlfriend, you're still young. Go out and play, enjoy. Meanwhile, I had to like figure out what I was going to do with my life. And so the soccer blogger started it. But I wasn't the first Latina to cover, sports nor football, but there weren't many before. That's for sure.
But maybe the first former player, Latina?
That
one is, I think.
There might be one more, una mexicana, that I remember, and she was amazing. But it's true, Isa, like, there's not many. There's not many like us that are former players, Latinas, who are now into broadcasting and calling games and analyzing games and whatever, hosting and all that stuff. So for us to be in this kind of similar career path is amazing. And guys, nobody knows this yet, but they will, because by the time this podcast airs, you'll see it. But this is what's crazy. Isa and I have lived so many similar scenarios together, whether it's on the field, off the field, going to the FIFA World Cup final in Qatar when Argentina won, Cami. Isa and I were there together.
Yes.
We watched the whole final together. We partied afterwards together. She was at when I introduced Messi to Inter Miami. Isa was there.
She got married on my birthday.
Yeah, like it's the most insane things. But now what is so crazy is Isa comes to me a few weeks ago and she goes, Meli, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, what? She's like, the games that you fly to cover the U.S. women's national team on TNT? I was like, yeah. She's like, I'm going to do the same thing with Telemundo in Spanish. I'm like,
that's
what?
So sick.
Yeah. So now we're manifesting it for a while.
We have been.
Maybe you guys are actually like the same person, but in parallel universe, and somehow you cross into the same universe. I think that might be what happened.
Maybe because we dress the same. Like Cami, when we go out, we have to text each other like, what are you wearing? Because we would wear the same color, the same outfit out.
Everything.
That's like, so cute.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So if we match on TV, y'all know why. It's because Isa es una copiona.
Yeah, dude, for real.
Copiona.
That's okay. I like matching with my friends. Okay, so you guys are going to be working a lot together this summer, this next year, right? Year and a half kind of situation. What is it that we need to be on the lookout for in women's football in women's football, but in case you missed it, this is officially your Hágame Famosa segment. Because I didn't intro it. If you don't know what it is, it's where we hook you up in the world of sport and in the world of music. So Meli and Isa are going to hook you up, and then I'm going to give you a quick music rec and ask Isa for some too.
Okay, I would say right now the biggest news for Hágame Famosa would be that Mexico will co-host the FIFA Women's World Cup in 2031. So we thought it was only going to be in the U.S. Now Mexico is in the picture. And I don't know if this is truth or not, but I heard it's actually the same amount of games in Mexico than in the U.S.
Wow.
Which is going to be absolutely crazy. So be on the lookout for that. The Liga MX, the professional soccer league in Mexico, has been doing amazing stuff for the last 7 years. So this, I think, comes on to be the best World Cup in two of the countries that are doing the best in terms of conditions and quality and leagues around the world. So congrats to Mexico and the US for
that's huge.
That's gonna be lit.
It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be lit. And then from me, by the time this episode airs, which is around later June, the Women's Euro is coming up just in a few weeks, y'all, and it's going to be huge. If the last Women's Euro was massive, especially with England taking home the title, this one's going to be even bigger because I think now the players are getting even more of a built rivalry, especially in Champions League. And I think Spain is going to want to come, with vengeance. Germany's going to want to come with vengeance. France as well. These are the bigger powerhouses in women's European football. And it's going to be hosted in Switzerland. And I'm going to keep on talking about it because I think this is also going to be a big moment in women's football, specifically in Europe too. And we've already seen the attendance rise in fans attending these matches around the world, but also in England. The Champions League final that we just saw a few weeks ago sold out. Like, this is going to be massive in Europe, and it's going to be really great to be able to witness and watch some good football, most importantly.
Iconic. And I would like to say that the warm-up soundtrack for the summer is going to be Latina Forever, which is the new track that Karol G dropped.
All right.
Have you heard it?
I have my thoughts on it. What do you think?
You don't like it?
What do you think, Cami? Please.
I think it's one of those songs that it's going to be the song of the summer, I think. Okay. And I think that it's bad in a way that's good. You know what I mean? It's like eating junk food. It's
totally.
like your body craves it and you need it. Don't fucking lie to me and tell me that when you're at El Patio on a Saturday night at 2 a.m. and that shit comes on, you're not going to be dropping it low. Both you guys cannot look at me in the face, especially after the conversation that we had earlier, and tell me that that's not what's going to happen.
It'll happen.
It will happen.
It will happen.
Okay.
It'll happen for sure.
You're welcome.
I don't know. I love Karol G. Oh, the Netflix on her.
Yeah.
Dude,
10 out of 10.
That's my girl.
Yeah, love Karol G. Out of all the songs, though, I don't know. It's gonna hit. It's gonna slap. It has slapped already, because of the beat and everything. For me, for the lyrics, I was just I don't know if I really like this that much. But just like you said,
it's junk food.
It's junk food.
And we need it. We need it. Isa, what's your go-to warm-up hype track? I love to ask athletes this.
That's good. Right now.
Yeah.
I would say right now, and it was a guest here in the show, Capo.
Oh my God!
I would say Imagínate.
Con Danny Ocean.
Yes. That is a slow song that gives me going, and it is the perfect way to start my warm up.
Love.
Okay. And this is a question, whereas as we wrap up, a question that we like to ask all of our guests here, de arriba hasta abajo, what do you think has contributed to your success in your life?
De arriba hasta abajo, success in my life, growing up in the family that I grew up with, having my grandma there.
La más crack de todas.
My grandma is a big figure in my life. She's a very powerful woman who widowed when she was 23 with 5 kids and managed to get them all to school, managed to get them all in life. She's now 80, and she says she's better off now than when she was 20 years old. So she's the one who dances the most, drinks the most, has a good time. She always has an amazing energy, and I
La verdad,
wait, I want to meet her.
She's great. Yes.
La verdad, like Isa says, I'm the bad influence. Ella, la doña Tere, es la mala influencia.
Yes, that's where it's coming from.
Goals. That's gonna be me as an abuela, straight up.
No, literally, she
If it's not that, I don't want it.
Me pica el ojo. She blinks at me like that. She's like, guarito. And she gives me a shot of guaro. Dude, it's so funny. She's the best. She's honestly the best. But what is our favorite quote, or your favorite quote, Isa, that she always says, la plata?
Es mejor tener amigos que plata. And that's my life motto too. With friends, you can go everywhere. Con plata, not always.
Right. Oh my God, wait, I love her. Okay, I'm gonna meet her. That's my 2025 goal.
Yes.
Okay, well, I did not forget something nobody knows about you guys. Spit it out.
Dale, Isa.
Dude, I want to say one thing that nobody knows about Meli is that she likes to buy a lot of things. She, especially shoes. Like if you go to her house, she has so many shoes, and she has so many football jerseys. Like
half of them are gifted.
God.
Gifted. There's a lot of gifted.
Over 100 football jerseys, like
easily.
She has like 12 behind her right now.
How many, Meli? Around 500?
No. That's. I'd say over 200.
Yes, over 200 jerseys in her closet.
But a side note, a lot of them are gifted, like throughout the years. All these brands have
she likes
jerseys.
to collect. Let's say she likes to collect.
A collector, if you will.
A collector of jerseys and
she likes fine
and
things.
shoes.
I do love shoes. I do love me some good kicks. I do like collecting things that I like just enjoy. Hats, shoes, and kits. I think those are the three.
Okay. What about Isa, Meli?
Ay, Dios. Isa, okay. One of the things that is so funny about Isa, I mean, I can't find anything like, okay, two things. One thing is like Isa went through a really awkward phase, and that was when, and I'm going through it right now.
Oh, with my hair.
With your hair. Because Isa has naturally, as you can see, curly hair. It's beautiful. But she also used to get it chemically straightened, and so did I. And she got me onto the straightening game since we were like 20. And so during COVID, she stopped that.
Oh my God.
And she's like, you know what? Like, fuck it. I'm going to grow my hair natural, like natural curly girl. And she went through this phase.
Dude, it was so bad.
We're literally...
El pelo era así y el otro era así.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Go back to those photos, please. But another thing about Isa is like when she gets in giggly mood and I get in giggly mood, it's like it doesn't stop, okay? And she starts crying, but so do I. So like shoot. So there's this one time, and I can't get too specific into detail, but we watched the World Cup final in Qatar, okay, in Doha. Argentina won it. We went to the after party, like FIFA after party. It was so much fun. Of course, we're the last ones to close down the party, right?
Isa looks worried.
I know.
I don't know how much detail she will give about this story.
But this is healthy partying, okay? It's not crazy shit. Like we are also very responsible. But the funny thing is that we're in the middle of like this. Like it was like this palace. It looked like a palace at this after party. Who was the DJ, Isa, at that party? Bresh was a DJ, dude. It was sick, and we are kind of like stranded because we don't have a ride to pick us up. The sun's coming out, and there's no Ubers. Okay, and so Isa and I are like
in Qatar.
Yeah. Yes. Well, there are Ubers, but like all the Ubers were taken because it was the last day of the tournament. Everybody's going to the airport. They're all booked. We're literally like, it was kind of like when you have like the walk of shame, but there was no walk of shame. It's just like me and Isa, like after a party, but like we're like stranded in this hotel lobby, like waiting. We're walking outside, like stranded, trying to find a ride back to where our hotel was.
And some guys were saying, "You guys want a ride?" And we were like,
No way. Keep in mind, it's like the safest country in the world. Like nothing would happen. But either way, like long story short, then we finally got an Uber. Like I want to say like an hour later, and we're just like, I mean, guys, we pulled an all-nighter. You but it was,
crusty bitches.
I know, but it was epic.
Assholes.
But then once we got into the Uber ride, and we were finally on our way home, that's when the giggles hit. And we were just like crying, laughing, like, what did we just live?
The driver was praying while we were giggling and laughing and crying.
Yeah, it was just
the best.
It was
one of the best memories of Qatar.
You should have been praying for us.
The World Cup, Cami, of course.
It was my birthday too. I'll never forget it. Best birthday of my life.
This was fun.
You guys, this has been so fun. Honestly, Isa, I feel like we have to have you back. Like this has just been amazing.
Yes.
Isa, where can people find you if they want to continue to connect with you?
They can find me on social media, Isabella Echeverri 11. They can find me on Telemundo Deportes covering the Premier League and the U.S. Women's National Team and the FIFA World Cup next summer.
Let's go.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I had a blast.
Thank you, Cami. Thank you, Meli.
Eso. I'll see you in a few minutes, Isa. No.
I'll see you later, amiga.
They're actually in the same house. They're just separate rooms. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. This was our episode of Hasta Abajo. I hope you guys are feeling inspired. You are feeling challenged to go out there and chase after your dreams and fight for what you know is right. It's been an honor for me to talk to these two women that I admire so much. Do not forget to send us your messages. We love hearing from you, and subscribe to the podcast so you do not miss any new episodes. Drop a comment, let us know what you thought, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hasta Abajo is an iHeart women's sports production in partnership with Deep Blue Sports and Entertainment.
For more podcasts, listen to the iHeart Radio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.